Welcome to our fourth vegetable Veggie RX video. Today we'll be discussing more about the benefits of the red-orange vegetable subgroup, as well as demonstrating how to blanch your vegetables and talking about what is blanching and when would I want to blanch my vegetables. So examples of the red-orange vegetable subgroup would include, of course, our bright, beautiful tomatoes. Other examples would be sweet potato, pumpkin, carrots, red bell pepper. And what's great about our red-orange subgroup is that they're super high in antioxidants. And antioxidants work to protect the cells in our body and therefore help prevent diseases like cancer because they're so powerful. And then with blanching, again, you may ask, well, what is blanching and when would I use blanching? So blanching is a process that can help extend the life of our vegetables by freezing them, properly freezing them. You would want to blanch them beforehand. And it can also just in general soften the texture of our vegetables if you prefer your vegetables a little softer. So I'll turn it over to Diana to tell us more about how to blanch our vegetables.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and just go over a quick process of how to blanch your vegetables. So what's great about blanching is that it requires very little equipment to get started and to do it. All that we really need is a pot or saucepan, a slotted spoon or tongs, as well as a bowl full of ice water. And if we're planning on freezing our vegetables, you should have a tray with parchment paper or wax paper on top of it ready to go when your vegetables are blanched. So the reason why we would either use a pot or a saucepan really depends on what type of vegetable that you are planning on blanching. So if we were to have smaller vegetables, say like green beans or sliced zucchini, then we would use our more shallow pan, because what we really want is we want those vegetables to be submerged in that water for the time that you are blanching. So like I said, for the smaller vegetables, you can use the smaller pot, but for the larger vegetables, say like peppers or tomatoes or cabbage leaves, then we want to use that larger pot just to be sure that that vegetable is fully submerged in the water. Yeah, so, and when you're blanching your vegetables, you want to get your pot or saucepan full of water, put it on the stove, and get that water to a rolling boil. So once that water is in the rolling boil, we can take our vegetable and submerge it in the water. And then once that water comes back to a rolling boil, then we set our timer for whatever recommended time that it is for blanching that particular vegetable and put the lid back on. And once that timer goes off, we can take off the lid, take our vegetable out of the pot and quickly submerge it in the ice water. And again, your vegetable wants to be fully submerged once again. And so the reason, and then a general rule of thumb for how long you want to submerge your water in the ice bath is forever how long that you blanched your vegetable for is how long that you submerge it in the ice bath. And the reason why is because we don't want that vegetable to become soggy in the ice bath. We want it to stay that nice crisp texture that we wanted to have by blanching it. And if we are planning on freezing our vegetable, it makes sure that we're locking in that nutrient. And if we want to use that vegetable right away, then we're keeping it at that same texture. Because what we're essentially doing is that we're shocking the vegetable. We're moving it right from the really hot water into the really cold bath to keep it where it's at and stop the cooking process. So if you're planning on eating the vegetable right away that you blanched, you can store it in the fridge for up to 3 days. Or if you are planning on putting on a tray and freezing it and then moving it to a freezer safe bag or airtight container, then you can store it in the freezer for up to 1 year. So what type of recipes can we use blanching in?
Yes, great question. So blanching works really well for your vegetables that you might want to incorporate into a salad. So if you're not a super big fan of like raw crunchy vegetables in your salad, you could blanch, for example, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, bell peppers, and then add them to your salad. You could likewise do the same for your sandwich. So blanching them, adding like cucumbers to your sandwich just to soften them up a little bit. Another idea would be to blanch your vegetables before adding them to a stir fry. So sometimes the difficulty with making a stir fry is that if you're using a lot of different vegetables, some may take longer to cook, some may take shorter to cook. So by blanching them beforehand, you can just add them in at the very end of your stir fry, warm them up a little bit, and they'll all be cooked and done on time together.
Yeah, so other recipes that you can use blanching in is, say, like stuffed peppers or, cabbage rolls. Because blanching, especially your peppers can take some time to cook and some time to soften up. If you prefer a softer pepper, you can blanch your pepper for about like 8 to 10 minutes in the hot water. Move it to the ice bath and it'll stop it cooking. And then all that you do is that you stuff it with your pre-cooked stuffing and you're ready to eat it. So it really reduces the cooking time for stuffed peppers and makes it so that you can enjoy it faster. Another recipe that's really popular is cabbage rolls. And so you can blanch your cabbage leaves for about 7 to 8 minutes just to soften up that texture, and it makes it easier for them to roll, and it makes it easier to eat afterwards too. And the last method that we have, or the last recipe that we can use blanching in, that we have featured here is like making tomato sauce. So blanching can also be used for like peeling, like tomatoes or some fruits. And what we did here is that we have a tomato that we blanched prior to this. All that I did is I put a little X at the bottom of the tomato. I blanched it for 30 to 60 seconds. And then I submerged it in the ice bath for another 30 to 60 seconds to stop that cooking process. And as you can see, the peel of the tomato is very easy to peel off now. And now we can use this tomato in a tomato sauce.
Wonderful. And then lastly, if you're curious about how long it takes to blanch each different vegetable, we do have a nice handy resource here that we can share here on this post. So you can see all the different types of vegetables, exactly how long they'll take to blanch, so you have that to reference as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to email us or comment below. Have a great day.